Now, this is a follow-up video to the ICE Unalives white woman video where I told you this was going to be a big deal. And boy, has it become a big deal. Since my last video, there have been plenty new developments and plenty new videos. And of course, Trump is standing 10 toes down saying the cop acted in self-defense, even calling Renee Good a professional agitator. Let's not forget about the video that Trump posted of the incident where Renee Good's car was here, which was behind the gray SUV, which is behind the stop sign, which is behind the little tree, behind the fence, which is behind this big tree, which is down the block and halfway around the corner and up on somebody's rooftop. I mean, this looks like a POV of a sniper's assassination attempt.
But there was a woman screaming, shame, 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 shame.
How could Trump hear her screaming from way back there? Allegedly, Renee Good was in a group called Men Ice Watch, short for Minnesota. And for the most part, they blow whistles to warn people that ICE is around and also try to obstruct ICE from making arrests. And allegedly, on that fatal day, she was there to us. And on the other hand, you have ICE agent Jonathan Ross, who is a veteran with more than 2 decades of relatable experience, including serving in the Indiana National Guard, the Iraq War, followed by 10 years with ICE. Jonathan filmed and shot Renee Good at the same damn time. Yes, he filmed and shot her at the same damn time. No, I'm not talking about a body cam footage. I'm talking about his personal cell phone camera. I mean, is this a federal law agency or not? Was this in the handbook? Is this the way y'all train them? But anyway, here's the video of his cell phone footage.
Change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking veteran. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car.
Whoa! Now, from what I get from the new video is that Renee Good didn't seem threatening. She didn't seem angry. She was agitating, but wasn't doing a very good job at it. So I would find it difficult to label her a professional agitator.
But in my opinion, she was an agitator, a very high-level agitator, so professional.
But you really can't say that it's a lie either, because she actually had training on how to do this. And to me, this didn't seem like her cup of tea. She was not very good at it, and she did not seem like she was comfortable doing it. And in fact, she was so uncomfortable that she was leaving her wife. She didn't lock the doors and was pulling off, and her wife was still trying to get in the car. So I know that she was really, really nervous, didn't know exactly what she was doing, and she was trying to get out of there because she was nervous. But speaking of her wife, who is Rebecca Good, this seems like her thing. She was doing a good job, and she did seem like a professional agitator. Seemed like she'd been doing this for a long time. She was very experienced in cussing people out, and it looked like she was right at home. She didn't have no issue with this. You can hear us say, drive, baby, drive, encouraging Renee to haul ass. And the other big deal is the rhetoric that all of the politicians are spitting right now. First of all, you got Trump, who said this.
But in my opinion, she was an agitator, a very high-level agitator, so professional. She wouldn't stop screaming. I said, this isn't a normal situation. This is a professional troublemaker. Because you heard it and I had it. Now, I will say this. The news sort of turned her down, turned her off. Because you're trying to watch. She was so loud and so crazy and just not normal. When somebody sees something like that, they don't go screaming and screaming and this.
And then after that, you got Kristi Noem, who said this.
You know, people need to stop using their vehicles as weapons. This domestic act of terrorism to use your vehicle to try to kill law enforcement officers is going to stop. And I'm asking the Department of Justice to prosecute it as domestic terrorism because it's clear that it's being coordinated. People are being trained and told how to use their vehicles to impede law enforcement operations and then to run over anybody who gets in their way while they go out there and try to disrupt peace and public safety. And Americans deserve better.
And then you got J.D. Vance that had to get his stuff in, and he came and quadrupled down.
First of all, the Department of Justice is going to investigate this. The Department of Homeland Security is already investigating this. But the simple fact is, what you see is what you get in this case. You have a woman who is trying to obstruct a legitimate law enforcement operation. Nobody debates that. You have a woman who aimed her car at a law enforcement officer and pressed on the accelerator. Nobody debates that. I can believe that her death is a tragedy while also recognizing that it's a tragedy of her own making and a tragedy of the far left who has marshaled an entire movement, a lunatic fringe against our law enforcement officers. I think what is clearly happening here, and it's going to keep on happening unless the Democrats wake up and say, you know what, you don't have to agree with our immigration policies. You don't have to agree with what the president or the vice president believe about immigration enforcement. But why don't you take this to the ballot box? Why don't you vote? Why don't you organize? Instead, what some of them are doing is encouraging people to get violent with our law enforcement officials. It's disgraceful and it's got to stop.
And even though I do not like their tone or their tactics, I still find it hard to argue with their opinions, as tragic and avoidable as this was. But what I definitely don't agree with is how the FBI has taken full control over the case, which led local law enforcement to back up and withdraw from the investigation, especially since the feds wouldn't give him any evidence. If I was in that same situation, I would have known not to move my car. I would have known not to agitate ICE. But I understand something. I don't have any special privilege. I don't have white privilege. And what these two women failed to realize on this day is that they didn't have white privilege neither. See, in order to have white privilege, you have to have black people or people of color involved. But when there is none around, this is supposed to be the end of the video, but there's a few things that just don't sit right with me. For one, Renee Good or her wife Rebecca in no way, form, or fashion committed an act of terrorism. Were they agitating? Yes, but when did the punishment for agitation become a death sentence? How could this be terrorism, but not the January 6th insurrection? Or how about in 2021 when the Department of Homeland Security in its strategic intelligence assessment identified domestic violent extremism, especially white supremacist violence, as the most persistent and lethal terrorist threat in the U.S., but no special force for that. But even besides that, I said that if this was me, I would have done this and I would have done that, and that's when I seen this. The video footage is so clear. I can clearly see inside the vehicle. I know that when the vehicle goes backwards, that she is going to flee. I also know that I need to get out of the way. I can see her hands on the steering wheel. I can see her hands vigorously turning the steering wheel away from me to flee. And from other angles, you can see that when she begins turning her wheels, she never pauses until the wheels are angled all the way to the right of the officer, which the officer happened to be on the left side of the vehicle. And it seems like he was looking directly at her. Or did he really believe his life was in danger? When did a car ever stop because you unalived the driver? Could he have moved out of the way? Well, the roads were icy. You can even see in the video that one of the officers failed trying to approach the scene. And you also can see Renee's car wheels slipping on the ice. My opinion is that we will never know what Jonathan Ross was thinking when he fired his weapon. But we all should know that he had no reason whatsoever to be recording unless he had a body cam. Every law enforcement agency should have body cams. And when they don't, it's because they don't want you to see what they are doing. And in this situation, it's going to work out just like they intended. Thank you for tuning in to Drapetomaniacs. I am the man with the plan T-Can. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what I unveil. Until next time, signing off.